Good evening, everybody. It's me, for some odd reason. It's your host of the Bucs Report show for this Friday evening. I am Andrew Faubert. How are you all doing today? That's what I thought. I can't hear you. But I'm going to hear you all later because you hear the fans. Get a nice little platform here later on the Bucs Report show called, I believe, what is Rick called it? It's called Your Turn. You'll get your chance later on here in the show to talk your turn. But tonight, we're going to be talking major Buccaneers stuff with a good friend of ours and a new fan of the show, Tank Spencer. We'll be talking to him in a bit. We'll be talking to you, the fans, of course. But first, before we get into all of that, remember to like, share this crazy show. I don't have a proper intro. I'm sorry. It's my show. I kind of go off the rails. I'm trying to be as professional as possible. They told me to wear a suit. I don't own any. I wore my Super Bowl gear instead. I represented it in the background. We still have the Dat Suck jersey that everybody likes to call it. But here we are. You got a crazy Canadian to host the show tonight. So let me know how you're feeling about that. Let me know how you're feeling about these Bucs. This offseason has been electrifying. How electrifying? Bringing back everybody, grabbing a couple of draft picks, and it ain't done. Bet you we're going to get some veterans here later on. Some people are going to want to join later on. They're not going to want to just be away from all this winning. They're going to want to join it. And before we get into all this other crazy antics, I wanted to talk about one thing that a good friend of ours at Bucs Report wrote today. He wrote an article by Ray Kennedy. It says, I scream, you scream, we all scream for creamsicles. Now, basically, the article highlights Levante David and Tom Brady basically hinting at and saying they want these creamsicle jerseys back. And I don't blame them. I want these creamsicle jerseys back as well. Goes into talk a little bit about, why we can't necessarily have them and asks you the very question of why? Why? Should we have them back? Does it remind us of a really bad history of days of losing? I mean, yes. But you cannot deny how amazing those jerseys look. And just how amazing those jerseys would look once in a while on a winning squad, like we currently have right now. I understand that the NFL committee has this health and regulations thing against it. They don't like to change the helmets and this, that, and everything else. I understand, and we can't have the full creamsicle jerseys if we're not going to have the creamsicle helmets either. I agree, 100%. So it should be able to be allowed to happen. And this is just my opinion. Every jersey any team has ever had should honestly just be available at their disposal for any game. Any game, any regular season. If we want to go back to our Super Bowl winning jerseys for a game in this regular season, why not? It's almost the same as these beautiful buggers right here. Why can't we go back to the creamsicles? Why can't we even go back to the alarm clocks like the Mike Evans I have over there? It would be kind of okay, in my opinion, to go see those jerseys once in a while. The color rushes. Why can't we just have those at our disposal? Why must we have these same jerseys every game? I mean, I do like the consistency. I do like seeing a brand new product like this being exposed every game as much as it can. But why do we have all these restrictions? There is obviously real answers out there. You just can't. That's the law. And they made the law, and they don't like to change their own laws. I get it. But think about not only the Bucs, but all these other teams too. That would just be so nice to have classic throwback jerseys being thrown on new and young players. Seeing Mike Evans in a creamsicle versus the New Orleans Saints, where they have that old, shady type black to their jerseys. They haven't really changed it, but the tone of their colors have. Wouldn't it be cool to see the Jacksonville Jaguars' old colors brought back? When they actually were relevant sometimes. They actually had a decent offense. Yeah, defensively, but still, their jerseys looked pretty good. And they would probably look even better when Trevor Lawrence is actually winning them some games. They're not going to win all the games. Not going to win 11 or 12. No, they'll win some games. It'll look kind of cool. Wouldn't it be fun to see Tom Brady and company go out there one Sunday, save in week 8 against the Saints? I mean, it's in their stadium. We can wear the white off colors if we want. We just have to have that tone there. We can come back in our home game and we can wear it and show the creamsicle jerseys off. I want it. I'm seeing all across the internet. The fans want it. Why can't we have it? Why can't we have all the nice things? We got the Super Bowl champion. We got Lombardi. We got the GOAT. We got the GOATs of wide receivers. We got one of the greatest defenses of all time. I would say second only to our 0-2. We got the big banners up. We got the talks of the new stadiums. We had the talks of the new jerseys. Let's put the Terry on top. Let's go for an unbeaten season and have one of those games or two of those games in the creamsicles. What do you think? Do you think we should have the creamsicles? Do you think that they're a long forgotten color? We should just forget about it, Andrew. As I know one of my friends here at Bucs Reports would say, Matt Colson, Andrew, you are way too young to understand what happened pre-1990s of this team. And I agree. There's some things I'm a little bit shady on. Some things I don't necessarily know fully on. But there's one thing I do know. Those creamsicles, whether we were losing or not, were still a really, really fun jersey just to have sitting in the back of our disposal. Just look at the stands. We've had alarm clock jerseys. We've had the new jerseys. We've had New York Giant jerseys. But there's always that one creamsicle in there. Usually a Doug Williams. There's usually a creamsicle in there. And it's really, really nice to see. It's just cultural. It's classic. It's historic. So let's bring history back while we go for more history. Shouldn't we? What do you, the fans, think? And later on, you'll be able to let us know what you think. And we'll get through just a couple of comments here just to see who we got tuning in with us. And we got our man Tank Spencer going to join us in about a minute or two. Depends on how far I can get through these. Hey, Andrew, says Teresa, thank you for tuning in. One of the miscreants from the cheap seats. That's my other show I do on Sundays, where I actually go a little bit off of script, I guess you would say. There's no script for that show. That's just all, whose line is it anyway with all the miscreants? Johnny Dean, another one. Hello. That suck. Yes, I know. Mr. Andrew Faubert, good to see you. Ron Bucks fanatic McClary. It's good to see everybody in here. I love this. Pound that share button, comment, and like, please. Yes. Loving it. Would like to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the Super Bowl in those creamsicle uniforms. That would be epic. I highly doubt that they would ever allow that to happen, but man, I do agree. That would be kind of cool, especially if we went up against, say, the Raiders or something like that, and they got to bring in their the old school white little throwback there. It'd be kind of nice. I shared Tracy Chandler. Thank you. I'm going to save my comments for open mic. Oh, I know you will, Matt Colson. He likes to just come at me. I get it. I understand. I may not have the greatest of takes in the world, but you know what? I got passion, and I want one of them damn creamsicle jerseys. You know who else has got passion here, ladies and gentlemen? A man who needs no introduction, but I am going to give him the most proper of introductions that I possibly can. Once my computer actually loads, because, up in Canada, I got to run 2 different computers, because if I don't, well, then obviously things just go wrong. So, but here's my good friend, Tank Spencer. Welcome to the show. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, buddy. So first off, tell us where is your show? I know you run on ESPN. I mean,
Yeah, we me and my partner Jeremy Green, we've got a afternoon talk show that we do on ESPN Asheville here in Asheville, North Carolina, Beer City, USA. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We not only have the radio show 2 hours every afternoon, 3 to 5. You can hear it everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Green is the name of the show. I'm the Tank. He's the Jeremy Green. And we also have a morning show that we do on YouTube called the Sportsocracy. And we do it every weekday morning. We call it 9-ish because, we don't always hit the 9 o'clock mark right on the dot. It always seems like somebody forgets to share something or write a description for say, you know how that goes.
It happens.
But yeah, weekday mornings at 9 o'clock on YouTube. We are in the Sports Tank. You can follow us at the Sports Tank at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias.
Perfect. And so, I mean, I got told that you're a big Bucs fan, so obviously let's get diving right into this. We got the big Bucs fan logo right across that would be your right shoulder, I do believe. Did I get that right? Am I getting my camera angles right here? All right, perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice. All right, so obviously we got the Super Bowl. We got Tom Brady. He came to town. A lot of people laughed at the age, said, what the heck are you guys doing? You could have kept Winston. You could have maybe even went after, somebody a little bit younger. People were calling for Phillip Rivers. I was kind of one of them. But we got the GOAT. We got the rings now. We got to go for 2. What are your thoughts of this season? It's been crazy. It's been hectic. It's had its up and downs and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we got the Lombardi. How do you feel, and what did you think about this crazy season, man?
It's been like elation. I was born a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. Even though I was born and raised here in Asheville, North Carolina, my dad and my uncle, my grandfather lived in Tampa, moved to Tampa in like 1974. They didn't have a local team. Growing up here in North Carolina, it was either the Washington Redskins or the Atlanta Falcons, and they wanted to be different. And Dad's town's getting a team. So 1976, they jumped on the bandwagon. I was born into it in 1982. I lived through all of the horrible, horrible years, but still loving my Bucs. I was raised to love my team. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the one. Even though when the Carolina Panthers came into town in 1994, it got announced. 95, they started their inaugural season. I never could jump the bandwagon. I've been a Bucs fan my entire life. Back watching guys like Hardy Nickerson back in the day. He was my dude. I loved Hardy Nickerson. But suffering through all of those seasons, and you go to school with all these guys, all these local people who Cowboys fans and Falcons fans, and even though the Falcons didn't have a whole lot to brag about, I definitely had nothing to brag about. So this year has been just complete elation because this is the first time I was in my hometown for to celebrate a championship because I was living in Charleston, South Carolina when the first one happened. I didn't get to rub it in anybody's faces.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, this year was so special. I didn't even expect Tom Brady was going to come here. When they were talking about Tom Brady could possibly go to Tampa Bay, I thought, that's not us. That's not what we do. We don't do the smart things. We don't bring in guys like this. I
agree. I didn't expect that either.
The way of the world, and. Yeah. So when he made the announcement, it was incredible. We joked about it. I went full on, we're going to host the Super Bowl. You just watch. Y'all wait and see. It's going to happen. And I'll be honest with you, halfway through the season, I didn't think it was going to happen. It was Tom Brady and we saw this week, the reports coming out of camp that Tom Brady was talking about. It took him a while to get a hold of the playbook and figure it out, the Arian system and everything. I saw that when we were, what were we, like 7-5?
7-5 going into that bye week, yeah.
7-5, and I was thinking, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I think things are going to get better. And then we just went on that run. And, you said earlier that the defense may be one of the best of all time. I'm still partial to that 2002 defense, but these guys are real close.
Yeah, I grew up, I'm only 30, so when I was in grade 5, grade 6 is when the Bucs really started getting, good, and Gruden
Right.
finally came in and stuff like that. And the only reason I say became a Bucs fan is because everybody in class, there was a Philadelphia Eagles fan and a Broncos fan, and I'm still actually friends with that Broncos fan to this day. And I had to pick one, and I went on TV. First game I saw was, I actually think it was Tampa Bay versus the Eagles, and it was just the way that defense was playing. I was like, okay, I like this team, and I don't care if they are the worst team ever or if they're the best team ever. I'm going to stick with this team, and I've always stuck with my team. And
Right.
when they won that 0-2, I got a little bit popular, I guess you would say, for about a year or two, and then everything. But yeah, I'm always going to be impartial to our 0-2 defense. I've grown up with people saying, "Oh, it's the Ravens 2000 defense," or it's the 86 Bears. Even the Legion of Boom gets thrown in there, and I'm like, yeah, well, statistically, you're wrong. So
Right, exactly.
It's still the 0-2 defense. So with that also being said, our defense, man, this year, it does make a hard case to be one of those greatest defenses of all time. I mean, it doesn't have a catchy ring to it, say like the Purple People Eaters or like the Legion of Boom or anything like that. But the 0-2 defense never really had a catchy phrase or, slogan necessarily to it. I mean, there was some local ones, I guess, and
Right.
this, that, and everything else. But for, the main outlook of this, do you think not only that this defense is probably top 10 elite of all time, but how long do you think that this defense could stay at its elite, ceiling? Do you think that we have another 2 to 3 years of this, or do you think that it will eventually come down with some of the veterans as they get a little bit older?
2 to 3 years, no doubt. I have no doubt that 2 to 3 years is fine. I'm really worried about the future of being able to keep all of the talent and the way that we've kicked the can down the road with salary cap stuff. And, I think we should all be honest with ourselves about what's coming for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Once these next 2 years come off, the way that we have restructured contracts and stuff, I think we might be back in a little bit of lull. The defense is still going to be really good. Don't get me wrong. But 2 to 3 years, I think, is definitely doable. Beyond that, we're going to struggle really paying guys. Because, I mean, you look at like Antoine Winfield Jr., he's going to get paid big money. Devin's going to get paid big money. They're all going to get paid big money. I could see major contracts coming for every guy on that defense other than probably the secondary.
Yeah, I see the secondary, me and a few people at Bucs Report have kind of gone back and forth on, and I think everybody's kind of coming to the agreement that Milton Davis has another great year. We may lock him down, give him like a 4 or 5 years. But, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, they've had really great glimpses throughout the seasons. They've shown that they can do really, really well. But they are going to ask that top tier money as well. And we obviously can't pay 3 corners that top tier money. So do you think one of them, would probably take like a team friendly like everybody else is doing? Do you think any of these guys in the secondary or any of these elite guys later on, like Devin White, or Antoine Winfield, Vita Vea, if they can actually see what we see right now, is right. We may not be able to enjoy this. Don't get me
wrong. They do. They see it. Yep. They all know. And that was kind of the magic of having Tom Brady come into this team, is that he made everybody understand that this is a championship caliber team. All you got to do is believe in yourselves. Yep. And don't if times get hard, and just ride my back, and I'm gonna take you there. I'm gonna lead you there. I'm gonna show you the way. I've done this 6 times already. I can show you the magic keys. And I think everybody bought into it. And that's why this year was so special. And that's why I'm so excited for this year, because now they know they can do it. Mm-hmm. Now guys like Sean Murphy-Bunting and Carlton Davis, they may not be the top cornerbacks in the league, but they believe that they're part of a top unit. Yeah. Devin White is unbelievable. I still get mad at myself when I think about that draft, because I wanted one of the Devins, but it wasn't the one we got. And now I'm thinking back and going, I just hope he never finds out.
See, and I remember everyone talking about the Devin White situation the whole offseason, that he's probably going to be there at 5. The Bucs are more than likely going to take him at 5. And every mock draft, even the one that I had done, I had never had Josh Allen falling out of the top 5 either. So when he was sitting there at 5, I'm like, I think we should possibly go after this edge rusher, but I'm extremely happy that we did. I mean, I'm not saying Josh Allen's a bad player. He's done pretty well for Jacksonville, but he's definitely not a Devin White. That's for sure.
No. And it's all about timing as well. Like Josh Allen, I would have loved it. It would have been great, but it just wasn't the time. After 30 interceptions, then we found out it's time.
Hi. It's same thing.
Yeah, it's the same spot. I know.
It's the same thing with the Winston situation, right? Like it just 30 interceptions in your last season. He started his career with the Buccaneers, throwing in a pick 6, ends it throwing a pick 6 and stuff like that. Were you a big Winston supporter when he came in, or were you? I mean, sorry, I think everybody was a Winston supporter when he came in. More towards the end of the career, like when we didn't even know if we had this option on Tom Brady. Were you still maybe we could bring him in? He could learn if we give him one more year in Arian's system. Where did you fall on the Winston situation?
When the 30 interceptions happened, I knew it was time. There's no coming back from this. And I wish him luck. I hope he goes on and, he's fine in New Orleans and we kick the crap out of him every time we play him. But other than that, I hope he has great success. Because there's no doubt that there was talent there. I didn't like him when we drafted him. I wanted Mariota. I can remember I was sitting in Bank of America Stadium I think it was the last game of the season or close to it. And I'm sitting there, got my Bucs gear on, and I'm just sitting back chanting, Mariota, because I knew we were going to get a quarterback. And I didn't want Jameis because of all the ancillary stuff around him, the off-the-field stuff. I was just not a fan. And one of my best friends is a Florida State guy, and he was like, no, don't. You don't want to go down that path. But I had hope. I had a lot of hope that we would be able, he would be able to slough that aside, grow up, mature a little bit. And I feel like he did to a certain degree. It took a while to get there. Throwing for 5,000 yards is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
And that's what I had to remind everybody. It's like, this is a guy that's got a lot of talent. Can't figure out where to place the ball. A lot of those aren't his fault either. Like, he's running for his life. He's throwing off balance. He's just making bad decision after bad decision. But after a dude throws 30 interceptions, there's no coming back from that. No, and then when it opens up that you got a shot to bring in Tom Brady, that's not a question anymore. Like, we're going to let you go develop somewhere else. We've got championships to win.
Exactly. I mean, this team, they went 9-7 with them the one time, and we lost our one playoff hope there to you like that? So, we lost that Washington game, and it really was downhill from there. Like the 2 games at the end of the season weren't going to do anything for us. And I know the constant coaching changes and this, that, and everything else. It didn't make for a great soup, I guess you would say. It was not a great concoction trying to get it all to work and stuff like that. But Winston was, in my opinion, I do agree. I didn't want him, but I was okay with him coming in just because he was a Florida kid. I known that there was the heart to him that was there. But I also knew he wasn't going to fit well with what we had, like with Lovie Smith and all that as well. Right. I knew he was not going to fit well with the Dirk Cutter system. I knew he would get like 5,000 yards, but if he actually played well, he would have gotten 5,500 yards and, 47 touchdowns, maybe, 300 to 600 yards rushing, just because he would have known what to do properly.
Right.
Now that we digress, we're in this Tom Brady system. When he got signed in, Arians has had this thing where it's like, this is my effing system. Like, I got Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning and Ben Roethlisberger and all these guys. They could do it. If Winston can, he's out. Brady can come in here and he can do it. It's the first time we've ever seen Arians actually. What do you think? what should we do? And Tom Brady's, telling him, I just terminology maybe a little bit differently, a couple of routes there a little bit differently, and just add a couple of things that I've thought, blend it with yours, and we can make it work. And it did. Do you think this is something that we're going to start seeing a little bit more of down the road? Maybe more Bruce Arians being the head coach towards everything else and letting Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich kind of develop their own offense together. What do you think about that?
I think at some point you have to, but I also believe that, Bruce Arians, he's a really good coach. I had my doubts about him coming in and being the head coach, taking over my favorite team. But, I mean, he's got good points. And I think if he's able to, now he sees that it can happen when you open up yourself, you open your mind to new possibilities. I don't know that it would have happened with any other quarterback than Tom Brady.
Exactly.
But, I mean, I don't think he's going to treat anybody like that. Like Kyle Trask. We'll take Kyle Trask, for example. A couple of years from now, if Bruce still decides that he wants to hang on, which I don't really think is going to happen. But if he does decide to hang on after Tom retires, I don't think he's going to be taking Kyle Trask's opinion on what needs to be done in the offense.
No.
Tom Brady's a guy who just commands respect everywhere he goes. And if you want Tom to be really good, you're going to have to incorporate the things that he does really well. And I felt like that was one of the things that Bruce did really well last year was later on in the season as they got more comfortable. It was like, I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong on this. I'm not the insider. I'm not inside the locker room. But what it felt like to me was that Bruce Arians laid out his offense. Tom learned it. He had his own little he had his own little style that he wanted to add a little bit in, and they just kind of trickled it in throughout the season. And then by the end of the season, it was, like the great Pauly Shore once said, you take this style and you take that style and you just kind of interweave them. And it worked.
I love Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to go watch Encino Man after this now.
Yeah.
I think I could pull that out. I mean, the offense here too. I mean, here at Bucs Report, a lot of people have talked about just how blended and how well this offense can and will be going into this, 2021, 2022 season. And people talking about, we can go undefeated. But we know that undefeated all the way to the Super Bowl is a very hard accomplishment. The 72 Dolphins are sipping their champagne and laughing every single time anybody ever talks about it.
Right.
But with that being said, I mean, a lot of people at Bucs Report here and myself think that, when Tom Brady's done, he's either going to coach or want to be in some part of ownership, and he's never going to want to fully be away from football. He's going to want to stay around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's Tom Brady. Can you stay here when you're gone? Do you want a job? I mean, just your presence in this stadium sells tickets like we're good. So with that, like, he gave the permission for them to draft Kyle Trask, almost as if, and he already had taken him out from reports that saying before the draft and had talked to him as well, Florida kid and stuff like that. Do you think Tom Brady's major influence after he's done playing will be more coaching, or do you think it'll be more ownership? And do you think he'll be, whether it is the coaching or the ownership, do you think he'll be the one that has the final say on what happens with Kyle Trask and say the offense?
I think ownership is the route for Tom Brady. I don't get the sense from him that he would be a great coach. And I can't really explain why that is. Like, is he a great mentor? Can he pass on a lot of things to the other players? Absolutely. I could see him more in a GM role like John Lynch. But coaching, for some reason, it just doesn't strike me. It almost seems like that's beneath Tom. Being a coach would be beneath Tom. He needs a bigger role. He's going to be a GM. He's going to be a decision maker. He's going to be a front office exec, something like that. And yeah, he's probably, between him and Giselle, I'm pretty sure they can find enough money to be able to buy a team if they wanted to.
Oh, and it's funny because I know there's a couple of viewers here right now that are going to laugh, and you'll see the comments explode for this. They'll probably have enough money for a CFL XFL merger team if they actually decide to do that. You'll see the comments blow up there about that in a second.
Nice.
And going back to that comment, though, I do agree that the whole Tom Brady being a coach may actually be, say underneath him.
Mhm.
He does not necessarily hold grudges, but, he's the type of guy he'll remember. And I think he fit in very well with this Buccaneers team because they all remembered all the way down to in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
So Bill Belichick is obviously the one guy, can't say he hindered his career, can't say he did any wrong in his career. I mean, he did win all those championships, and he wouldn't have his own name technically if it wasn't for having Bill Belichick make that offense and the systems to allow him to have that.
Mm-hmm.
With the whole coaching's beneath him, I've always had just this little slight where, when Bill's done, I'll coach against his son. And I'll make sure his son don't get any rings type thing. And it just keeps it going until eventually the Belichick family's like, we can't keep having this. The Brady family's going to take over the NFL. They're going to be like the next Peyton Mannings, essentially.
Right.
So with regards to the ownership here, I do at the end of the day agree. It's probably going to be more of the ownership. With regards to that, how far do you think he would go? Do you think he would be like a John Elway type, owner GM, or do you think he would maybe go a different route where he just wants to, stay in the offices, he just wants to oversee everything and maybe make the actual state or the franchise better by maybe bringing in the TB12 method and actually being able to throw that into somewhere? What do you think he's going to be more the players, or do you think he's going to base everything more on the actual organization itself?
I think as much as he loves being a player, he would be a perfect guy to, understand the player's position, to understand how players need to be coached and be able to, put together a front office team or, pick the right GM, the right coaches, the guys that he would want to have played for. Tom Brady's just, you feel like he can do anything. And I mean, the guy's out here winning Super Bowls at 44 years old. Like who would have thought that he would still be doing it now? And could win another Super Bowl this year. If he wants to hang around for the third year, he's going to win another Super Bowl then. I'm not going to put anything past him. I'm done doubting him. Like over the years, like when he was in New England, I was thinking, it's over. He's too old to win Super Bowls. It can't happen anymore. And then, of course, they lovingly beat the Falcons the way they did.
That was
it was great. It was great. And I got a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans that are, friends here in North Carolina. And, I felt bad for him, but at the same time, I was like,
don't count your chickens before they hatch here, guys.
Yeah, exactly. It was great to see. But I think, Tom is just, he's just such a different cat. And the way that he talks about practice and the way he talks about getting in the work before the season is, and, that he's actually scared of what's coming after football because the routine will no longer exist, that he's so married to the, to the way of winning and to preparing to win, then it would be hard for me to see him walk away completely from football. But I don't think he's going to live in that I got to get up and go to practice and coach the guys world. I think he's going to have a good mixture of the owner jet set and, let me pull the strings. This way I can still go to Monaco with my wife and, whatever is going to happen. But I could totally see him being like a Jerry Jones type guy. The guy that wants to be the owner, but wants to make the decisions and wants to have his hands in everything that's going on. And yes, there will be a big TB12 push. They will rename the stadium TB12 Stadium. Everybody will have to eat avocado ice cream in the concourses. It'll be glorious, and we'll win championships, and we'll love it.
$150 million investment to the TB12 Stadium of Tampa Bay, Florida, where every season ticket holder gets 2 tubs of avocado ice cream. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're Canadian, I can't buy any TB12 products up here. It sucks. But I tried to buy the shirt when he was drunk, and what was that? Gabbert was walking him around, or was that Griffin? That was Griffin, right?
It was Griffin.
Yeah. It was Griffin's carried him around. I tried to buy that shirt the second I could, and they were like, "Oh, you're in Canada? I'm so sorry." That You can't get it. You're way up there in the frozen tundra. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So that makes
That's
sense.
a shame.
Ah,
They won't even surcharge you for delivery?
I told them,
crap.
I said, I will pay the $150, which is, just $1.27 American. I don't care. I'll pay it. It's all good. So, after Brady's career is done here, I do agree. He's got the 2 to 3 years left in him. I think he's going to pull the Peyton Manning. He'll do the 4 years. I don't think his fourth year will be as bad. But I do think that's where we'll see a decline. I think someone might get us in the first or second round of the playoffs, and then we're going to have to really take a look in the mirror here. But when that happens, the culture of this team, in 02, about from 97, 98, all the way to 02 when we won that championship, we had that swag and we had that culture. And, you started seeing the Derek Brooks and the Warren Sapp jerseys all over the place. And you started seeing the respect that was coming around. And then, of course, they go and make a decision that caught a lot of people off guard with, Tony Dungy, but bringing John Gruden in.
Right.
Nobody's really contemplating that anymore that we won that championship. But the culture really left shortly after that championship, just because, having to overpay some players and letting some players go and not being able to reach that same height that they were at. Mm-hmm. When this is all said and done with Brady, whether he stays or not, this culture is going to be something that we can't ever obviously let get back to what it was. We never want to see the stadiums full of Giants players. We're never going to, or Giants fans, we're never going to want to see a sea of, black when it comes to the jerseys, when the Raiders are in town or the Saints are in town or anything like that. What do you think is really going to take to keep the culture that we currently have? I mean, we're having these nice talks on shows. Right. I mean, the Bucs Report's hiring Canadians to talk about, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. It's a great time, right? I mean, what do you think would actually need to be, kept along here in order to keep this culture going here for the Bucs?
I really don't know. I don't know what you can keep together, because I feel like once Tom's done, Bruce is going to be done. So you're going to have to switch coaches. And honestly, I don't like Byron Leftwich. I would love to see him become the next coach if he's the guy that they want. But he's not going to be waiting around. He'll be gone next year. I mean, if they go back to the Super Bowl this year, Byron Leftwich is getting a job next year.
Yeah,
he's going somewhere else. So that's not going to be an option. I don't have faith in our defensive coordinator to be a head coach, because my partner in crime is a Jets fan, and and I had to suffer through those couple of years with him. And I'm not in on having him be a head coach again. I don't know that you really can. I don't know that it's possible. So what I've been preaching since the Super Bowl started to all of the Tampa Bay people that will listen is enjoy it while it's here, because we've been here before. We were here in 2002 and we thought this is a feeling that we hope will never end. And then it ended pretty quickly.
Yeah,
right. Like it went to mediocre real quick. And, I just don't think everything's an ebb and flow. And I don't think there is a way to keep the culture going. And maybe there is. Maybe I'm completely wrong. And maybe all of the money that we've shoved down the road to put ourselves in complete cap hell in a couple of years, maybe that won't be as bad. The revenues are going back up. The cap is spiking. So maybe the hit won't be as bad as I'm thinking. But I'm almost thinking that it'll be a complete reset. Yeah. Best case scenario, we got 2 more years left. We compete for world championships 2 years in a row. Then comes time to pay the piper, because all these contracts are going to come due. That money's going to come due, and you got to work within the framework of the league. I just don't know how long you can kick the can down the road and keep this. I hope we do. The brand of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has never been bigger.
No,
because you got to think about when we won the title back in 2002. The social media stuff didn't exist.
Nope.
It was just it's bigger than it ever was. And I'm gonna say 85% of that is because Tom Brady's in town.
Yep.
And once Tom Brady leaves, now when he retires? Do we say, or does he make a sweet offer to the Glazers to be able to buy the team or something like that? I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't back off of that. I mean, the Glazers have been okay, but
They've
if it
done
means
okay.
keeping
Yeah.
the culture in the building, I'm good for a change.
Yeah, and I've been preaching this a few times on Bucs report shows. I think one of the big end games here that we do want to see is, when Brady's gone, everybody, Saints fans are licking their chops, being like, yeah, when you guys get those first and second overall picks again, we'll be waiting. And we're waiting on you. You guys got a year or two away from that coming. So let's not get too crazy.
They're going to be picking first and second for a while.
Yeah, and you guys are going to be getting your quarterback of your dreams here pretty soon, okay? So let's settle down. But yeah, no, I think everyone's end game, whether it's in office, fan base, ownership, is they do want to keep this winning culture afterwards, and they want to mimic some of the best teams that have happened, like the early days of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers, and even what the Cowboys did, right? All those teams have had this winning culture every few years. And I think that's what the fans are going to want to just see here. That, we can deal with 2 to 3 years, a couple of bad picks here and there, and then right back up there, 10 years of good. Kyle Trask starts leading it. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with regards to say something like the Dallas Cowboys, we do play them week 1 in this upcoming season. And this upcoming season is the first time we're actually going to get 18 weeks, 17 games. It's going to really tick me off every time I do analytics because it's never going to just be a 500 game anymore.
Right.
It's all over the place. Looking at this upcoming season, a lot of people are saying it's going to be a cakewalk. We could really run this 17-0. I've already made my predictions, came out. I said 14-3. We are more than likely going to go to the Super Bowl and win it. Obviously, it's just my opinion.
That was my prediction as well.
14-3?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so off the top of your head, do you remember the losses that we would have and possibly why?
I got us losing on the road at the Rams. I think that's going to be the toughest game that we face all year long.
Okay.
Think I might have had us against Green Bay and maybe Indianapolis.
Okay. So that would be a week 12. And when do we play Green Bay? Do we play? I don't think. No, we don't play Green Bay this year.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't committed it to memory yet.
So. No, that's okay. No, hey, the Colts and the Rams for sure are two teams that they're not going to be easy. I mean, they're building a heck of a team around Stafford, and I'm quite impressed with what they've done, and I've been quite impressed with what that coach can do down there too, Sean McVay. Mm-hmm. Heck of a coach, man. Heck of a coach. The only losses, I only got them losing. I got them losing to the Patriots, and the only reason I got them losing to the Patriots is because
don't do that.
Tommy
going back home. You think that's really possible?
And any given Sunday, of course. The only reason is I don't actually, as dumb as this might sound, I don't think Bill Belichick necessarily bought all these players to get them back to winning. I think they're doing it to adhere to the fans. Like, we can get back to the playoffs, but we're going to lose in the first and second rounds here until Mac Jones gets it figured.
Yeah.
I do think he spent most of this money this year, though, because he knew he was going to play Tom Brady. And he's like, listen, Tom Brady's not coming in my house, and he's not going to be able to throw. I'm going to give him like less than half a second to throw the damn ball.
I can't wait for the pre-week press conferences that Bill Belichick's going to have, because he's going to be bombarded with all the questions about Tom, and he's going to do the same thing he always does. He's I hear he's a really good quarterback. We've had a great history together, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great challenge. When deep down inside, he's going, I have to win this game.
I have to win this game for my fans. I have to win it
because it's already blown up in his face.
Oh, completely.
That was the beauty of Tom coming to Tampa and then winning the Super Bowl in the first year was, oh, Bill, you chose poorly. You chose poorly on my son.
Oh, man. And See, I know there's probably going to be people that are going to pop in there and in the comment section and be like, Andrew, you're Canadian, you're not smart. They're not going to lose to the Patriots. And
I will tell you right now, Bill Belichick, he is a great coach.
He's a hell of a coach.
There is no doubt about that.
Mhm.
He is the coach that everybody, given your ability to start a franchise today, he would be the guy that you would choose 9 times out of 10.
Yep.
I really want to say there is zero chance.
And
Tom Brady goes into Foxborough and loses that game.
you're not far off from it, because the fans might actually be, quiet when he's on the field. They may actually support him, weirdly enough, on that.
Oh, I think they will have no choice.
I also do agree with that too. They'd be like, "Oh gosh, what do we do? Oh gosh, what do we do?" The other side of it, though, this is just me. If he does lose week 4, we're getting Brady for sure another year, because they're going to make sure that the Bucs play the Pats one more time, and they're going to, they'll suck up all the cash that they can out of that one. So we're here about
and that's the only team that Tom Brady has not beaten.
That's the only one.
The only one. He's got to finish it.
Unless they decide to build a team up here in Canada, in Toronto in the next 3 years, then, that's all he really needs.
Right.
I mean, if they're thinking about it, though, please, anyone, I would love nothing more than to have an NFL team up here, please. That would be absolutely great. My American counterparts can come fly up to Canada, and I would literally be at the stadium every day.
Right.
I would just sell my soul to the team. It wouldn't even matter.
So I took a look at the schedule. The 3 losses that I had us getting were at the Rams, then at Indianapolis, and then at home against Buffalo.
Ooh.
I mean, Buffalo, they can sling the ball really well, and I get that to me, our secondary is still the weakest thing we have. And I don't think there's really a whole lot of debate about that.
No.
Linebacking core, I believe, is killer. Our defensive line is going to be fine. It's the secondary that scares me.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about certain players, but I am worried about them being able to repeat the hot streak that they had down the stretch of the season and in the playoffs. And so I think a team like Buffalo, as much as they like to sling the balls, we're not really going to match up with them all that well.
No, they've now invested basically in that team. Like, their defensive line too on Buffalo is not something to just blink away at anymore here. I mean, When they drafted Gregory Rousseau, he was projected to be the number 1 edge rusher at one point in this draft that happened here. And the fact that he fell all the way to Buffalo, I laughed, and I was like, well, every Canadian that cheers for the Buffalo Bills is now going to be buying that damn jersey, because that was one heck of a signing. But no,
don't sleep on Carlos Basham either.
No,
Carlos Basham is a beast, and we broadcast here from Asheville, North Carolina. We live in a Tar Heel market, covered. Have seen Wake Forest play a lot. Carlos Basham is fearsome.
Yeah,
and he was a guy that I was kind of hoping we would draft.
See, Joshua Cole Allen actually had great insight on him. He kind of called the Joe Tryon pick coming. He even said it could happen in the second round. But he basically called Joe Tryon. He's like, if it's not Joe Tryon, it's maybe this guy or maybe that guy. And one of the other things that he was saying is, don't be surprised if the Bucs can get Carl Basham, say in the 3rd or 4th there. But then Buffalo basically snatched him up and was like, nope, edge rushers is what we need. Edge rushers is what we're going to get then here.
Right. And he did, and Carlos was he was kind of a homer pick for me in all of my mock drafts, just because,
sure,
local guy that, or from the area, I guess, going to my favorite team, and he's a big body that I'd love to have on the defensive line. But I'm glad they took Joe Tryon. The more and more that I had looked at, because I'll be honest, I didn't do a whole lot of back work on Joe Tryon. I had saw some film on him, and he was fine. I didn't really see first round potential in him. Then when we took him, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, God, this guy's 6'5", and he moves so swiftly. He is going to fit into that second level of the defense incredibly well. And he's going to serve his purpose of giving a little spell to JPP.
Yep.
I mean, he's just going to be kind of the, let JPP get a blow. He's going to fill that role, and I think he's got the ability to turn into a really elite pass rusher.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, he's learning from Shaq. He's learning from JPP. I mean, we already know Vita Vea is going to be sucking up enough coverage down the middle. When you do have constant rushers now, because that's basically what we have. Even the second unit that's going to come in is not anything to blink at. It's not a pushover either. And he's going to be involved in that. I mean, he's going to have the edge rushing. They may even throw him in there in like a mentor role where, randomly he starts doing coverage and the offense is not ready for him to start doing that. And they're like, great.
No doubt.
So now this defense that we thought we knew and understood is starting to pick us apart because our rookies, and the cover system. Todd Bowles does not do what the other offense thinks he's going to do. I mean, we rushed. I think it was against the Kansas City Chiefs. We blitzed them, and we kept blitzing them, and nobody blitzes on them because they knew what happened. But we had the talent in that back end to do some damage to them. And, I think we all watched that Super Bowl, and we all can admit if there wasn't some drops on the Kansas City Chiefs side, we're talking about a completely different and closer game than what it actually looked like. Because Patrick Mahomes is something else. He really is. And this is the number one reason I am praying to every sports god out there. Do not let the Julio Jones sweepstakes get to Kansas City, because that's where, the secondary that we are talking about, we're not saying we hate it, and we're not saying it's anywhere near being some of the worst in the league. This is top 5, even top 3, arguably, depending on who you're talking to. When you add in the safeties and stuff like that, of course. But it's not going to be easy if you got to play a Kansas City Chiefs team. It's got Julio and Kelsey and Hill. And it's the same thing with us. The only thing that we're looking at here for team-wise and stuff is, smart coaching. So like your Rams, McDermott there in Buffalo, those are good coaches that are going to try to find every little darn hole that they can in our system and try to utilize that. The only two losses, the other ones I have besides the Pats, I got them losing week 8 to the Saints, at the Saints there. And then right after the bye, losing to the Washington football team. And I don't think they lose any more games after that. I think they just get the losses out of the way. Everyone will call it the Super Bowl hangover and be like, yeah, that lasted 2.5 months and gave us 3 losses. Whoop-de flip and do. We're going all the way back to the dang big game here. So we're about 52 minutes in. I see that this chat has been blowing up tonight. We've had some great content and stuff like that. I'm going to put the link. So everybody bear with me. This is my first time hosting the big show. Yeah, I'm hosting the big show. I'll copy paste. There we go. The StreamYard link is there. And this will be a time me and Tank will keep talking here for a little bit, as long as I got you still for a little while.
Right on. I'm here.
All right. So now, to all the fans out there, you know what time it is. It's your turn. This is the chance for you to hop on to the show. Talk to us here a little bit. You get to ask Tank anything. Don't ask me anything, because you already know everything about me, I hope, and some things I won't answer, obviously, on this show. So we will go with our first guest. Actually, we got a few people that popped in. We'll go one at a time here for a little bit, and then we might hop in a couple people at a time. Is that okay with you, Tank?
I'm good. I'm rolling.
Right on. So this is one of our big contributors, Bucs Report, one of my good friends here, Johnny Dean of What's Happening in Sports. How are we doing tonight there, my friend? I got you on mute there. Oh, it's all good. Don't you worry. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going?
Not too bad. Not too bad. We just, talking Bucs, talking the creamsicle jerseys, getting to know Tank here a little bit. He's a big fan. Talking about the old days and stuff like that. What do you got? You got questions for Tank? What do you got? Comments? What do you got?
Well, I got a couple of comments. One is, are you crazy?
Well, that's an understatement, but yeah.
There's no way is Tom Brady going to lose to Bill Belichick. There is no way that's happening, dude.
I knew someone was going to pop in
I
and
got us
start giving
down
me
for
that.
4 losses, and one of those losses is a giveaway because every year we lose to a team that you don't know that doesn't look like it.
Yep.
So, but you know what? The Patriots is not on that list.
No, not especially if Cam Newton's going to be their quarterback.
Yeah, that's
Now, see, I have a thing like with Patriots and with the Saints. They have a strong enough team put together that they can play a quarterback-proof scheme where your quarterback's not going to endanger you too much like San Francisco did with Garoppolo, and Tennessee has done with Tannehill.
Yeah.
And Tank, I got one thing about your whole building for the future. We are building for the future. I mean, that's pretty well established. And much like if you went through the John Gruden thing, you understand what I'm saying. He just destroyed the team, man. We're not doing that. We're drafting. We have the coaching staff that you were talking about. We are very deep in staff, man. We can go to Richardson as a head coach. He turned down the opportunity to be assistant head coach already to come to Tampa with Arians. So there's plenty of coaches available that understand this scheme. I'm not really worried about that.
I'm just worried about the money. I'm just worried about having the money to be able to pay the players that are going to need to be paid down the road.
Well, that's the genius of what Greenberg has done, man. His contracts are written so that it falls in line with the new caps each time. Mm-hmm. We already know what the next year's new cap is going to open up to, and that covers most of our basic contracts. If everybody wants to sign back, we could probably do that again next year.
Right.
It all depends on what happens with who wants to go here, who wants to go there. But I'm not really worried whatsoever. Our draft picks were great this year. We filled our special teams up. We had 5 places to fill in the special teams, and we filled every one of them spots up in the draft. That was amazing to me.
Yeah, maybe I'm just being like too dogmatic about the future of the team.
It's this. It's
this.
Yeah. It's because exactly. You've been a fan of this for so long.
We know it's coming at some point.
Right. The Gruden thing really, I think the Gruden thing really shocked some of us older people and stuff. We were like, yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, we got this championship. Hey, why is everyone leaving? Why are you overpaying this guy? What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah. I got some trivia for you. I got a little trivia for you.
Okay.
We've won 2 Super Bowls since the last time Dallas has even touched a Super Bowl.
Ooh.
It took 45 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win a playoff game. We've already got 2 Super Bowls in that time.
Yep.
Dang.
So,
and this whole time, Minnesota has still not won a darn.
Neither have the Browns.
Darn thing. Or the Bills, sadly. But the Bills got close, of course.
Bills were in the game, man. Their luck in those games were just atrocious, man.
I think I've kind of gotten to the point now where if the Buccaneers aren't in it for some reason anymore, I just want a team that's never won the Super Bowl unless it's the Falcons to kind of win it.
That's how I am. Yeah. The Falcons, even if they win it, they still 28-3, man. Come on.
Yeah. You're never going to be able to get
the rest of their career. They need to change the name of their team.
And if it's Matt Rule and this current Carolina Panthers squad, depends on the quarterback and stuff like that. But if it's this squad that won a championship, I wouldn't necessarily be mad. I would be okay with it. But any other squad of the Carolina Panthers, I don't think so. And as long as the Saints never win again, I think we can all be very, very happy.
Absolutely.
I'm going to bring in
one question for Tank and you, actually.
Of course.
And then I'll get out of here and let somebody else in.
You got it, buddy.
What do you guys think of the Chicago Bears talking about selling the team?
Tank, you go right ahead, my friend.
I mean, is it gonna matter? Is it really gonna matter?
You kind of see when teams are look what happened when Buffalo got new ownership.
Mm-hmm.
They started improving.
I mean, something's got to change. I think this. We've been in this spot. just a couple of years ago, sitting here thinking, what can we do that's going to make a difference? Changing ownership's not always a great thing.
We got lucky when we got Bruce Arians. I've followed Bruce Arians' whole career, man, and he is steady. He's like a train. And the coaching staff that he's got a coaching tree now that's probably going to challenge anybody in football.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace had been so bad that they were just like, screw it, we'll sell the team. we're obviously never going to win anything with you guys. Let's just sell it. Just fine.
We'll give you a discount at this point. Please just take the darn thing.
All right, man. Let somebody else get in here. I'll see you later.
No worries, Johnny. I'll talk to you in a bit.
You need to show up on my show tonight, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know me. I need to medicate myself first, of course, before I hop on that stuff. But yeah, I'll be hopping on Bucs Report. What's that? Bucs Report late night tonight, right after this show. I'll be on
Bucs Report late night with Ray Kennedy and Johnny Dean.
There you go. All right, Johnny, I'll talk to you in a bit. To answer his question too, there is one billionaire that is looking for a team. His name is Jeff Bezos. I think this is more of a tactic to get ahead of some of maybe these other teams out there that may have wanted to sell and are still kind of thinking about it. Because, I mean, I don't think anybody besides major Chicago Bears fans would have necessarily seen this coming where they're like, wait, what? We're going to sell the team? Some of those fans probably like, I mean, yeah, why the heck not? I mean, we should probably do that.
If I can get $5 billion for it, sure, I'll sell it.
Yep.
Because that's kind of where I would be right now is, if I'm running a team, I'm thinking, I can get top dollar for this thing.
Yeah.
At some point, the value may drop and maybe I need to sell high. But that you also have to think that's also something that your ancestors are going to haunt you for forever.
Yep. Matt Colson says Chicago is talking about selling to the primary shareholder. That's not new ownership. And that's kind of what I was suspecting. Because I was going to say, I don't ever think a relocation or anything would happen like that. But obviously with certain new owners comes certain opportunities because that's usually just how business goes. Speaking of Matt Colson, I got somebody else who wanted to pop in and say a couple of words because, he really hates how young I am and how disrespectful I am to the pre-89-90 era of the Buccaneers. Mr. Matt Colson, how are we doing tonight, my friend?
What's up, Canucks?
Hey, you can't say that. No, I'm just kidding.
Can't say that. You're going to put me in Facebook jail now?
No, I would never put you in a jail.
Well, apparently I'm a racist, so it doesn't really matter. But
that's Eastern Canada talking. My part of Canada thinks you're perfectly okay in my books, and you're not anything like that. You're just from Oklahoma, Matt. No,
we're good. We're good.
You got any questions for Tank tonight?
Well, I was going back to the Chicago thing.
Mm-hmm.
The article that Johnny sent around was talking about the 21.1% shareholder is the son of whoever the owners are now.
Okay.
So that's like the baby Glazers taking over for the daddy Glazers. It's not going to change anything.
Oh, okay.
And you're talking about money transferring. That's all paperwork. That money's already in the same bucket. So it doesn't – the only thing that's going to do is give them some leverage, I guess, maybe to get them to get a new stadium or do something with Soldier Field. But it's like Comiskey Park. I didn't want them to tear down Comiskey Park so they could build another one. Mm-hmm. And Soldier Field and Lambeau, unfortunately, that's Wrigley Field in baseball. You've got to keep those. You just don't let them go like that. And I hope that doesn't happen. I don't wish any ill will to people in Chicago. I don't particularly think I'd ever live there for a lot of reasons. However, they're one of the original 8 that started the whole game. So you got to give them something.
Yeah, the original 8 teams for NFL, the original 6 in the NHL. I mean, the Celtics and the Lakers are never going anywhere in NBA. When it comes to baseball, you'd be laughing if you think the Dodgers would ever get, moved back to Brooklyn or anything like that. Right. There's certain teams that are kind of cemented, I guess you would say, in the cities that they're in now. And people could throw the Rams or the Raiders at you and say, well, look what happened with them. It's like, yeah, but if they've already moved prior, or if they're a new expansion team or something like that, those are more liable to actually move. Like, you're never going to see Green Bay Packers like be gone unless they actually have 30 years consecutively where they do not make the playoffs, because they will just continuously sell out for at least 5 to 10 years.
They're unique anyway. They're owned by the shareholders, which is the community of Green Bay.
Yeah.
And those shares are passed down now for 4 generations.
Yes, they are.
That's just trivia history that you got to wrap your head around that. Imagine if Jerry Jones was part of a team that was owned by the state of Texas. He thinks they're the part of the state of Texas, but they're not. Up there in Green Bay, that's a whole different world, man. The way they think about it, the way they look at the team, what they're willing to tolerate as far as the nonsense that goes on. And they have to change a main road every new quarterback. I got a Bart Starr, a Brett Favre. We're going to get an Aaron Rodgers. We've got a bunch of different street names. So that's there. I mean, that's like Canton. Canton's not going anywhere. You're not going to move Canton to Oklahoma City because we do have some space. But
yeah, but we've seen what happens with the Thunder there. So,
dude, we had something going on, and then they brought in Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just done with that.
I know.
That's a Florida Gator for you too. So there you go. I was here when they brought in the team, and what they initially did. When you figure out a team had Harden, KD, and Westbrook, and they were arguing over how much airtime they're going to get.
Yeah.
No, that's like the Buccaneers secondary. There's just 100,000 guys.
Except they're not. Good. They're not complaining like the Thunder did there.
No, but in the NBA, it's a different animal.
Oh, completely. Do you have anything directly for Tank tonight, though? Since we got here,
Asheville, North Carolina, is that right?
Yes, sir. Asheville, North Carolina.
Well, I like that guy already.
Well, I like you, man.
I was gonna say, so all of a sudden I've just been replaced by anybody else that comes on here that is just living closer to you, eh, Matt?
No, man, it's a biscuit thing. It's a biscuit thing you'd never understand.
No, until I at least get down there. I mean,
you get sausage gravy and biscuits anywhere in the United States. Once you pass the Mississippi and go west, they don't know what it means. And the further west of the Mississippi you go towards California, the more they substitute biscuits with polenta, which is cornmeal, which is cornbread, which turns into rancho jorjos or whatever, where they put peppers with the eggs and hot sauce.
Okay. I kind of know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
In the South, you put Cairo syrup, butter, and biscuits out. That's what you do. And the rest of it's just the meal that goes around it. But that's the way I was raised anyway. But no, I was listening to Tank. I'm gonna hook up onto your YouTube channel when this is all over with.
Yeah, do, and everybody check us out. The Sportsocracy is the name of the show. It's that we call it the Democratic Republic of Sports because we talk about what people want to talk about. We stay away from all the politics and all that stuff. We're just a bunch of guys hanging out in a really, really nice studio, if I do say so myself. We hang out every morning in the studio, just sitting around like a bunch of dudes drinking beers and talking sports and not focusing on the things that bring us down. We always like to pride ourselves on being the guys who, yes, there are more important things in the world, but that's not us here. That's not what we do here. We can do that stuff outside of here, but here it's all about sports, and we talk about what everybody else wants to talk about.
I could go with that. That's kind of like what we do on Sunday evenings too with Andrew. So, yeah, I'm all about that. And you never know how far off track that's going to go. It's always a lot of fun. So,
absolutely.
But it's good to meet another Buccaneers fan that's proud to wear the jersey.
Always.
We were incognito for many, many years.
Not in my house.
Not in my house either, Matt. You knew how it was up here in Canada, at least on my side.
You don't know the orange.
Oh, well.
I do. I do, Matt. I remember.
Yeah. I was still young enough where I was trying to tell people like I want to see these creamsicles come in, and I was getting laughed at and stuff like that. So
they did the uniform. Tank, what do you think about that? The uniform promo they did at the beginning of the year. They teased us with this creamsicle.
Yeah,
I mean they actually
like
put it
retro.
out there like we're going to bring this on.
Yes,
It's
they
got to
do.
be back. It has to happen. We have to. I don't care if we have to. I know I'd say we don't talk about politics, but if we have to storm the Capitol to do so, we need to make that happen. We need to bring the creamsicles back.
Well,
It
I got
has
the
to happen.
Chewbacca head. I can put on the Twi'lek gear and go up there and paint my face, whatever.
Listen,
But
as long as we
As
can
long as
use-
nobody ever goes back to the alarm
Yes.
clocks, I'm
No,
No,
fine.
we're not doing that one. That one and Trent Dilfer go away forever.
Yep.
That's the way I look at it. We had our minute where we thought we had a quarterback and he wasn't, and then we had this idea to be all modernized, like we're going to be leading some kind of charge through the NFL to get totally into the 21st century, and then we come out with that crap. So
Yeah, I don't understand it.
and it was ugly. But what I really wanted him to do was to do a creamsicle red kind of together thing.
mix
and-
all the like
Yeah.
kind of like what the Rams did. I mean,
Right.
not many people like the bone one. I'm actually not gonna lie. I'm kind of starting to come around to it. I would never buy one or own one, but I'm not gonna hate it like I hate the Falcon ones.
Is that the one that has the funny numbers on it? They're
Yeah,
weird colored
yeah.
numbers.
They all their uniforms do have that weird design, but that bone is like the weird off gray that they have too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I'm not a fan of. The blue is nice, but I do like how their yellow is literally like from history relevance all the way to the tip. Like that's so cool.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's the way it used. That was the first team to ever have headgear logoed.
Really?
Yeah, it was done by a linebacker who was bored, and he painted ram horns on his helmet, and it caught on. And that was the first NFL logo.
That's actually pretty cool. I
Yeah,
did not know that.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff. If you look in here, it's dusty, but it's in there.
If I was old enough, Matt, yes, I know.
No, if you just knew where the Men in Black started, that's an inside joke. Thank you. Wouldn't understand. But
Will Smith, man, Will Smith.
yeah, you got to remember he was recruited by somebody, an old man in glasses. That guy, he was the first or a
Sure.
first. But yeah, looking forward to the to seeing if they could do something with the creamsicle stuff, because Ray Kennedy kind of said there it's pending some helmet logo rule.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because they went completely off the Buckhill Bruce orange and
Yeah.
went to the skull and crossbones.
Yeah, because you can only have one base helmet, and it can
Yeah.
only be one color. So you can't have the silver helmets and have the white helmets. It's the dumbest rule in the NFL, and I hope to God they change it.
And really, well, who does it hurt? Because all it's going to do is increase sales in the NFL sports club, right? Kids are going to want to buy the mini helmet on both colors,
Of
Yep.
course.
and then you're going to have the team's got to lay out the expense to have multiple logos, right?
Mhm.
So it doesn't affect the NFL brand at all. I don't quite understand it.
I've
But
never understood it either. They claim it's a health and safety issue, but
it's the same head going in the same helmet.
Right.
It's just
If this helmet works, can I buy another one and paint the other, and then it'll work?
do what
Right?
do what NASCAR does. They don't repaint the car. They put another piece of vinyl over the top. They just whoever's logo is this week goes on the hood. And
Yeah, wrap it.
Yeah, wrap it up. You
Absolutely.
can do that with the helmets. It's not that big of a deal. That stuff's pretty durable too if you've ever looked at it. That with the car wrap, oh my God, you could land a battle carrier on that.
Matt,
Right.
But
quickly before I let you go, actually, I was going to say, are you a NASCAR guy?
yeah, I
Okay,
grew up
just,
in Florida. Dude.
Tank, I'm assuming you kind of maybe are as a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I follow.
North Carolina.
Okay, because I saw the one video there and I was like, oh, another NASCAR guy. And I figured since I got you guys here quickly, just before I let Matt Colson go, name me, in your opinion, the greatest design of a NASCAR of all time. Because
That's
I'm
going
gonna
to
tell
be a
you,
toss-up. I think it's going to be the Petty Daytona Sunbird.
Yep.
And something that's a little bit. I think that the Eliminator car, the year before he died,
of course,
Yeah.
was the perfect Monte Carlo ever made, and it stayed that way for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
That was to me iconic as far as a car goes. And that's what I watched NASCAR for. We were back in the day when they weren't all uniformly built and had all that crap. I remember when you'd go and turn it on and Junior Johnson's out there driving a freaking Sunbird or something.
Yep.
The
what about
best
you?
story I ever heard was the one that I caught it on YouTube yesterday. One of the guys that was the most commonly the most cheater in the league in NASCAR.
Yep.
He took a car and brought it down to 7/8 scale to play to drive Daytona, which basically it looked like the car right off the showroom floor.
Yep.
But it was an eighth of an inch smaller in every dimension.
Of course.
So it was smaller than it was supposed to be, and he ended up lapping the field a couple dozen times, and he won. And then after that, they just started the template deal.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was the one who started it. That's the coolest story in the world. When you think about what they had to work with, no computer or anything.
Nothing.
He got out a freaking caliper and he figured out things and did it in his head, probably on an 8th grade education, and pulled off some of the coolest technical stunts I ever. If you ever get to see it, I have to remember the guy's name. I'm gonna look it up. I'll let you know.
No worries.
In the future.
What about you, Tank? What? Give me one or two there that you think are all-time schemes.
Oh, like all-time NASCAR looks.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Dale Earnhardt as well, but I'm going to go with the Wrangler, the old car.
Yeah.
I used to love those things. Look, I'm not a car guy. I like watching them go real fast, round and round and round, but I don't get into like models and makes and all that kind of stuff. It's like the Wrangler car was cool. I always dug that generation.
That was the last.
Bill Elliott and the Bud car and all that. I mean, that was the stuff that I grew up on.
Right, and that's the way it was supposed to be.
I agree.
That the way it is today is kind of teched out too much.
Right, exactly.
But the old school,
it's all cookie cutter. It all looks the same.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they all, it's just bad.
Before I get you out of here, Matt, the two that I would throw at you, like early, well, no, let's say early '90s Alan Kulwicki car. That was a nice looking car.
Yeah.
I always throw in Dale Jarrett's later model. I just think that '88 UPS car is just something to behold. And this is kind of biased just because I was a Gordon fan, but I throw the 2001 Pepsi car in there as my all-time.
I thought you were going to say the DuPont Rainbow.
No. I know the Rainbow Warrior. No. I like the other one there.
No, any self-respecting North Carolinian can't get down with that.
No, of course.
You had to side with Dale because he was from Kannapolis.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
The awesome Bill from Dawsonville.
Awesome.
Bill Elliott. That Thunderbird that he had, where you just turned it on, they threw the green flag, 5 laps later, he's winning the whole thing. You can't, for 2 hours, you're just watching him go around in circles. That was phenomenal technology based on just knowing how to run a car. And
this is the reason I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, he hit 220, I think it was, at Daytona or Talladega, one or the other, just a huge number. And that got to where they were on four-wheel rocket ships, and people started getting hurt and die. Yep. And that's where the technology didn't catch up with the brains of people in the garage. I mean, what you could learn over a 12-pack of Bud and maybe a couple of hits of some of that wacky weed they were growing in the back. Those old rednecks knew what they were doing, man. It was some crazy things.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, I'm gonna have to pull you out of here because I'm gonna
leave. My cat's getting ready to tear my leg off.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, I will probably talk to you later tonight. But thank you for coming on, and we'll get you on again.
And it's not an age thing. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah. Thanks as always, there, Matt.
You guys have a good night.
You too, buddy. I love having that guy pop on. We got a lot of good fans here at Bucs Report. And I want to say again, thank you for popping on. I'm going to bump you out of here while I go through the comment section. And because it looks like there's a lot of them here, and I want to make sure I get through them perfectly. Right, promote yourself. And again, man, thank you for coming on. Thank you for hanging out with the Canadian. You could yell at my boss for, that kind of stuff. You're like, listen, the next time you give me a Canadian, can you at least forewarn me before I got to deal with his antics? But yeah, just promote yourself. Let us all know where we can find you, because I literally just hit subscribe on YouTube to you right there, buddy.
Nice. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the likes and subscribes. You can find us at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. The Sportsocracy, like sports and democracy, all put together. The Sportsocracy.com website is up. It's got all of the links to everything that we do. We are live in the Wicked Weed studio every weekday morning at 9-ish, as I said, on YouTube. You can find us there. We also on Facebook as well. We got the afternoon show on ESPN Asheville. You can find it on the iHeartRadio app. You can hear it anywhere around the world. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Green. I'm sure Jeremy's going to be on here with you going forward as we build this new relationship with you guys here at the Bucs Report.
Yeah, man. Hey, I will talk to you guys. We didn't get to talk about the fantasy stuff like we were talking about behind the scenes.
I'm down to talk fantasy anytime.
Yeah, buddy. We'll get Joshua Cole Allen. He's really smart into the fantasy football too, even though he's never necessarily going to get to the championship against someone like me. But we'll get him on there because his knowledge is always really fantastic to have. And it was fantastic to have you on this show as well, man. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks, man. I enjoyed it. Have a great weekend.
You as well, buddy. And we'll talk to you soon.
Will do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is just me and you now. We'll go through the comments. This was fun. It was Tank Spencer, ESPN. I literally just moved away from the little readout that I had for him, which I will bring back. I promise. I screwed that up. This is my first time doing the big show, and I already screwed it up, guys. The Dark Bar and Grill Bucs Report show with special guest. That's me, Tank Spencer, host of the Sportsocracy on YouTube, 9 to 10 a.m. weekday mornings, and co-host of the Sport Tank with Jeremy Green on ESPN Asheville, 3 to 5 p.m. every weekday, available everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. So give them a follow and a listen. All right. There was Matt Colson came in and shared his comments for the night. Yes, please bring the creamsicles back. I agree. I lived in the creamsicle era with Bruce as the mascot. We took our share of grief, but I would love to see this championship team in them. I do agree. I really thought they would make a version in this new uniform. Kind of bummed they didn't. And Matt Colson was actually talking about that. Would have been nice to do all the different colors if they could mesh it all together. It would have been nice and interesting. I think they did respectively okay with the jerseys that we got now. The creamsicles have rocked. Welcome, Tank. Yes, Tank was amazing to have here on Bucs Report. Thank you for coming on. It was amazing to talk to you about the Buccaneers this upcoming season and what the future will hold. Phillip Rivers is still one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch, just to watch a competitive game. He was never out of a game. That is also true. Artie Nickerson and James Wilder both need to be put in the Ring of Honor. I agree with the James Wilder one right off the bat. Artie Nickerson, I could probably get on board with. Thanks, Bucs Report. As always, Hubert Yarborough. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. Kevin House needs to be in before everyone forgets. Yes. Posted about him being added in a different Facebook page this very day. This defense, the Gravediggers, kept the Chiefs without a TD for 7 quarters. Think about that. Gravediggers, that's actually a good name for them. You have to look at what Greenberg did. He adjusted those contracts according to the future cap. This is also true. We got into that. Jamel Dean has been the most consistent CB we have. The team decided to give Arians a real shot with the maximum talent for his term of contract. Year 4 is when the defenses start to collapse unless we have a completely unprecedented draft history for the next 3 years, which, I mean, is true. We're not going to take like 5 different kickers. So we'll be fine. We should be fine. It's all about the depth we build now. That is what we will keep the Bucs relevant moving forward, as he has always said, and as I always agree. That is something that I very much so agree with. Thanks, Matt. Come on, people, let your opinion be known. Comment, call when he puts the number up. We need new people to interact and make the show better and better. Sadly, if I put my number up, we'd be talking some major penalties for me. Actually, no, I don't even know if that's true anymore. I think I have free international calling. But I remember calling into this show last year when there was a different host, and it cost me $11 a minute, and I talked to him for 30 minutes. So imagine how that went. Not well. Thank you, Teresa. What up, Andrew, my Canadian brother, David Searles. Welcome in, buddy. Thank you for tuning in on Periscope, of all places, too. That's awesome. Thanks, Johnny. Make sure to subscribe to Tank's YouTube channel right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's in the comment section below. I wanted Mariota. Winston didn't impress me watching this FSU career. That is also true. Thanks, Teresa. I agreed with that. I, at the time, did want Mariota. Looked too easily broken like a twig. Bruce Arians is probably the best teaching coach we've had in Tampa, even if he delegates the jobs to 159 assistants. Every player on this team has improved except Jameis. Yes, we were talking to a little Jameis there earlier, and yeah, I think that's kind of what everybody thinks. Bruce Arians' genius lies in people. He gets the right people in place to allow them to succeed, building the staff he has and letting them work is the key to his success. Exactly. Saints' problem now, I agree. Let them stay. Yes, I agree. The greatest as a GM. Brady wants to be on the field. He would make a great coach in the league. Johnny has talked about that a lot. Barry Goldie definitely would be an excellent quarterback coach. I agree with that, actually. You get to still throw the ball around and stuff. Hi, Bilbo. How's you going, my boy? It's my dog, Bilbo. I can't wait to see the Saints go all the way back to the brown baggers of old. I agree. Damn it, you can't go a show without that CFL, XFL stuff, can you? Not when they just softball it to me like the Cleveland Indians have been softballing it to the Toronto Blue Jays tonight, even though that wind is crazy. You should check out that game if it's not already done. I was really enjoying the second edition of the XFL. It was a lot of fun to watch, and the players were legitimately talented and really liked a lot of the rules. I actually very much so agree. Barry Gold, I have often said, and I actually am going to be writing an article about what I do think the XFL CFL merger should do. And one of those things is pay the players $500,000 base minimum, or put some incentives for different positions and stuff like that, and watch how many Canadians actually want to play. Stop just handing out jobs. Like, I get it's the Canadian Football League and it was built for the Canadians to play football, but it's obviously not that good when a couple of Americans can just sign with us and all of a sudden take them to a Grey Cup and that's it. So, just saying. Tom Brady is with the perfect person to teach him the coaching position. That's what Arians does. It's true. The kickoff rules were really smart. They should adopt that play into the NFL. I also agree. Yep. And the point after rules were really cool too. And let's be honest here, the uniforms looked fantastic too. Yeah, some of those teams had pretty nice uniforms. Don't know about that. Yellow and lime? No. I like Sprite. That's funny. Talking about the Vipers and their rules, except the sideline interviews. That was terrible. Yeah. I like Mountain Dew too. Byron Leftwich will stay as long as they want him. They're going to keep everybody as long as they want him. AFA, we're going to have to find players for their language. That was way over the line. I mean, of course. Never an opportunity to watch any AF games. I'm sorry. Wouldn't it be nice to have something like the AAF, CFL, XFL merger? I had everybody talking about it. Defensive line coach could take the HC job. You really have to look deep into the staff here. It's loaded with possible HCs. I mean, obviously, Tank's co-host is a Jets fan, and he's just done with that. Beautiful. Yes, I hope to hear Brady because he's here right now and he will go very soon. I agree. It's a good one. When Brady retires, I have no doubt he'll retire as a Pat. I wouldn't expect him to retire as a Buck. True, but the longer he stays here as a Buccaneer, the longer and better it's gonna look in those highlight reels with him tossing passes in Buccaneers gear, man. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. Peyton Manning works in the Broncos front office. Never say never. It's true. The Rams, that's a trap. Barry Gold, does Tampa build a Brady memorial statue? Of course they do. Totally okay if they did that. I think retire his jersey too. Look at that, Matt. Some other people believe in me too. Welcome aboard, Barry Gold. You're now one of my favorite fans of this show. Washington and Buffalo are my lost choices. It's a chance that it can happen. It's a chance that we can beat every team too. Buccaneers have won two Super Bowls since the last time the Cowboys have been there. The Steelers didn't win a playoff game in 45 years as a franchise, and the Bucs have 2 Super Bowls in that meantime. I agree with that. Buffalo is getting better and better. Washington is doing the same. Washington is looking amazing, and I don't want to play Washington at all. Belichick is a fantastic head coach, but he's not a good GM. I respectfully disagree. He's an okay GM. He's not that bad. He's definitely made some very questionable, decisions. Tom has never played in LA. It's true. I have the Bucs losing 4, and the Pats are not one of them. We talked about that. I seriously doubt the Bucs are going to lose to the Pats. That's where all the hate for my Pats take came in, of course. Joe Chiron is a JPP clone. I also agree. Julio Jones won't play 17 games. He seems to... And then nothing, Matt. And stuff. Yeah, I know. I just, when I don't know what to say, I say and stuff. I'm sorry. Please don't ever let the Falcons win. The fans would be insufferable. That's like letting Maple Leaf fans win a Stanley Cup in the next little while. That would be insufferable. Chicago is talking about selling to the primary shareholders. We talked about that. I'm totally okay with teams getting new ownership as long as the new owner has no intentions of moving the team. I hate when teams move. They need to stay put for their respective fans and communities. Yes and no. Sometimes, let's say, the Bengals, for example. If the Bengals stayed in, utter mediocrity for the next 30 years, I kind of want them to move to a city that would want and have a fan base that's ready for them now, only because it's really hard to commit to an expansion. I mean, the NHL is having issues with it, with the Seattle Kraken coming in, and they had, the Golden Knights are basically a perennial Stanley Cup team almost every year. So I do agree. Like, you don't want to see all of a sudden, like, the Chicago Bears out of nowhere just go up and move. And you don't want to see the, Minnesota Vikings all of a sudden go up and move. You don't want to see the Dolphins move or the Jaguars, really. But if it means, certain teams in certain times, and it means that we can get other teams in there, I'm okay with that. That's any team, even teams I dislike. Yep, I agree. Colts, Browns. I was a huge New Jersey Net fan, and some A-hat moved them to Brooklyn, and I never watched another basketball game again. As a person who loves the Thunder, and as a person who is a big Raptors fan as well on the backside, screw the Nets. Green Bay is primarily owned by a co-op, major shareholders. Yeah, we talked about that as well. That leaves Matt out. I saw that comment there too. Cheap seats are still looking for a track. Yeah. I love the creamsicle uniform. I miss the Bucko Bruce helmets too. Yes, sir. Barry Gold, you're my new favorite fan today. I like your comments. Arians wants the creamsicles back. I agree. Christopher Cole, man, I need 2 or 3 devices going because I've got shows that I like on at the same time. I just love any kind of football and other sports content. Mr. Christopher Cole, we always appreciate having you pop in, and it's always a pleasure when you would pop on with me. I mean, I know I'm Canadian. I know I'm different. And I know that I made, my other shows are a little rated R on my content and stuff like that for a reason. But I play nice when I'm here on Bucs Report, especially when my boss is breathing down my neck, telling me don't do it. But always appreciate you, Christopher Cole. Brady wants to wear the creamsicles too. Yes, he does. Jason Lanes wants the Christopher and the Bucko Bruce too. Heck yeah. I actually love the Rams jerseys. I do too. And like I said, I'm coming around on those bone ones. I'm coming around on them, man. I really am. Roy and Johnny were the man in black. Oh. Yeah, no. It's Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Thank you very much. As long as the alternative helmets meets the same regulations, that who gives a shoot. Bring back Bucko, damn it. I agree. Ignore the article is coming from a Falcons writer. That's hilarious. Harry Grant in the 99 Ford. Ooh, there you go. Harry Grant's Pontiac in the 99 Ford of Davey Allison's. Nice little NASCAR talk that was. King Richard's ugly A Dodge with that wing. Yeah, of course, everyone. Thanks for the conversation, Tank. As always, Tank, thank you for joining us today. It was an awesome talk. The fans seem to love you. I can't click on the link. Can you post a clickable link about the helmets? I think Johnny maybe got you there. Tank, thank you. Thank you, Tank, again for coming on. Bucs Report, YouTube, Sportsocracy right there. Tank was great. And Johnny Dean to end it off and stuff like that. I promise one day I'll probably get a shirt for the cheap seats that says and stuff like that written on the back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my first time hosting the big Bucs Report show. I had a blast. We had Tank Spencer on. He gave me some knowledge, and we went over the Bucs season that is to come and what has already happened, what he thinks about Brady, what he thinks about, just everything Bucs. It was a great talk. If you weren't around, you could still follow him and still see what he does every day at the Sportsocracy on YouTube. 9 to 10 weekday mornings with his co-host, Jeremy Green, on ESPN Asheville, 3 to 5 p.m. every week, available everywhere in the iHeart Radio app. They're also the founders of NFLDraft.net. All of their content is by fans for fans. They talk about topics voted on by their subscribers starting June 28th daily. That sounds like some fun stuff to get around on. I really did love having him on. You did a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Barry. I really do appreciate that, guys. I do love coming on here. I love Bucs Report. I love all things Buccaneers. Anytime I get to entertain you guys and gals, it's always a great time for me. I love this platform. I love sports. So that's one of the reasons why I think they picked me. Also because it's Friday and everybody else was a little bit busy. So they decided to go to Canada, pay me very cheaply. Like we're talking like $2 American, like pays my yearly salary here, guys. Okay. I play for pennies at this point, peanuts. So thank you everybody for tuning in. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew_Faubert. That's FAUBERT. And if you want to see my shows where I get a little borderline and my co-host, who is surviving COVID currently right now. Yes, he is positive test. It's a good thing I don't talk to him. I don't hug him or anything like that. But we're going to be talking to him tomorrow. We're going to be going over some dynasty and some playoff stuff that's going around all sports right now. Thank you guys again. Follow Bucs Report on all social media platforms. Follow my show, No Sports Dynasty, on all social media platforms as well. But most importantly, Bucs Report, because they give me the platform to be as crazy and cuckoo as I like to be, and also allow me to have amazing people like Tank Spencer come on and talk sports. It's one thing I love to do. And you, the fans in the comment section, you guys are always, always, always loved by me all the way up here in the frozen tundra. Thank you guys again. And stay tuned for the Bucs Report Late Show hosted by Johnny Dean and Ray Kennedy, the biggest Gators fan that you know, Mr. Ray Kennedy, the best of the Bay. I will probably tune in there and pop in maybe. I just got to go have some medicine first. Thank you all again. We'll talk to you next week and hope to see you guys around next time.